Well, good morning, everybody. This is always that moment that Catherine and I take a deep breath and wonder, oh, we're going live.
We are live.
We are live, Vagaro live with the two blondes. Here we are, Catherine and Aileen. We're also the profitable salon owner, where we get salon owners profitable.
Fast.
Thank you.
Very fast.
Yes. So today, this is the second in a series of 3 talking about customer service. And last week we talked about, first impressions, etc. Today we are focusing on
the art of consultations. How to do world-class consults every time. Aileen and I feel very, very strongly that if a client leaves unhappy, it usually started at the consult stage.
Exactly. In fact, this is actually something that we are so passionate about. And, we have sworn that we are going to keep this to 45 minutes today, because honestly, you and I could probably go on about this ad nauseum. So
yeah, we could rattle on.
That's how important consultations are in our business.
Yeah.
It is everything, because this is about the initial communication that we have with our client.
Absolutely. And I notice again today, Aileen, we are very delayed.
Yes. My mouth isn't going to the same pace as my mind.
I know it's...
And I also see that our slides aren't moving really quickly.
They are not moving
so
quickly at all.
Maybe we should slow down.
Possibly. But we don't work that way.
No, we don't.
We are not slow girls.
Motor mouse. So listen, it is not how many clients you have, it's what you do with them that counts.
Very true. I can't tell you how many times I have seen people come in the morning and they look in their appointment calendar and they go, "Oh, I only have 2 haircuts today." And I go, "Great." And they go, "Well, what do you mean, great?" It is great, because now you have the opportunity to take those clients and really do a phenomenal consultation with them and maybe upsell them into a color that they've thought about for a while. Or do they need a treatment? There's so many opportunities here. If it's a skin client and there's always so many add-ons that you can add on to that treatment to make it better than what you just have on your appointment calendar that day.
And don't even get me started looking at your schedule and seeing what you can do with those empty time slots, because that's a whole other webinar.
It is a whole other webinar.
So because there's no such thing as there's no reason to have empty time slots. If you do some of the things that we should suggest, you will not have empty time slots. Mm-hmm. Now, Catherine and I really believe that you need to put a fence around your clients. How many clients do you need to have a really successful salon or aesthetic business? Surprisingly,
it really isn't all that many.
No.
So maybe 250?
Maybe 250, somewhere around there. And here's the thing, if you have 250 clients that you are taking care of and nurturing that relationship, you are going to have a very successful career. If you do not have 250 clients that you are nurturing and taking care of, you need closer to like 8,000.
Because they're just leaving. They're not coming back.
They're not coming back. They're leaving. You don't care whether they come back or not. You think, oh, well, so what? Somebody else will walk in the door. But you know how hard that is? And do you know how much money it costs to bring in a new client?
Oh, it's about $100 a client.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine that. Whereas if you have these 250 clients, you get to know them intimately. You would probably be able to reel off all their names in alphabetical order, I bet.
And even out of those 250 clients, 20% of those clients will be the ones that will bring you most of your money.
Exactly. So, it really behooves us to really, truly make sure that we put a fence around our clients.
And a consultation is where that fence begins.
Exactly.
And so the why.
Let us begin, shall we?
Let's talk about the why.
Let's operate.
Okay. The why is to put that fence around them, because that will show you the money.
It will, because
and ultimately, you know, it's a business. We need to make money in order to keep going. We need to feed our families.
Exactly. Time slots are the money makers, right? And I want to remind all of you that you fall into the category, the same as lawyers, accountants, chiropractors, doctors. All these people make money through their time slots. So do you.
Yeah.
You're important. Now, let's make use of it.
And one of the big things in consultation for me is that that's where you can head off any mistakes that you make.
Well, I think that is absolutely the root of the whole thing, right?
Yeah. And you can manage clients' expectations. Because oftentimes, you know as well as I do, clients come in with unrealistic expectations of what it is that we can help them create.
Exactly. You know, they come in with that page out of a book and say, I want to look like this.
And you smile and go, oh,
okay.
All right. So let's see what we're working with here.
For sure. And unfortunately, what we do see and have seen in the past is that the number of service providers who truly try to recreate that for someone in an impossible situation. They don't have the hair texture, they don't have the length, they don't have whatever it takes, but they don't want to disappoint the client, so they go ahead and make that attempt. And of course, what happens? Everybody is disappointed in the end.
Yeah. So by managing expectations, sometimes that means you have to say no.
Exactly.
This is not possible, but let us discuss what is possible.
Exactly. And guess what? By doing that, you actually solidify your customer base far more importantly than trying to attempt something in the idea that you can achieve something that isn't possible. They will totally appreciate the fact that you actually said no.
No. And I honestly have said that, and I have talked about this before during some of these webinars. I had a client come in and she brought me a picture of a supermodel, and I looked and she was dark brown and she wanted to be blonde, and she wanted her hair bleached. And I said, no, I would not do it. I said, I can lighten your hair. You know, we can do a great highlight in your hair. I said, but to bleach this out, you are not going to be happy with it. And she said to me, you just said no, I want my hair bleached. I said, then you will have to find another hairdresser that will do that, because I knew that she was not going to be happy. And then she would go out, and that's my reputation. So we have to guard our reputation. And that's where we do it, is in the consult.
Well, it's also about integrity as well. And I have to say, you know, years and years ago, when perms were really hot, I
that was a long time ago.
Bleached blonde hair surprises, you know, it's no longer natural. I'm sure you're all really surprised by that. But anyway, I went to see some stylists. I wanted to have a perm with my bleached blonde hair, and I went to several stylists who said, I'm really sorry, but you know, I can't do this. You know, it's not going to support the integrity of your hair. But I was determined, so I went to another stylist who said, oh, sure, I'll do that. Well, guess what?
What we used to call pocket curls.
Yeah.
Because when the perm rod came out, so did the hair.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. But I looked really good in a pixie cut too.
Yeah, so this is where we manage their expectations. And never be afraid, if you don't think that you can achieve what they're asking for, never be afraid to say no.
Exactly.
And I think that is a huge lesson for all of us. And if you are in skin, nails, you know, whatever you're in,
same thing applies.
Same thing applies. And we're just, today it's kind of, we can't kind of go down both roads.
All alleys, right? So
if you hear us talk more about hair today, just take it and apply it to your aesthetics business.
Exactly.
And the big thing here is, Aileen, I think we need to make our clients feel like we hear them.
How important is that? How many times as people, no matter what we're doing, whether it's in personal relationships, whether it's in a consumer situation, no matter business situation, whatever, that we don't feel heard as people. And we walk away feeling disappointed. So how rewarding to be able to work with, for your client to be able to work with you and walk away feeling, oh, this is fantastic. You know, Eileen heard what I was saying today, or Catherine heard they understood, right? So making the client feel heard is an incredibly invaluable tool to customer service.
And we'll talk about that as we go along.
We will.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. Excuse this slide because it's going to be a little on the slow side.
The how, darling, the how. Tell me how.
Well, I think we all need to listen more than we speak.
Well, what's that old saying? We've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Make use of them.
Yes, absolutely. But really listen more than you speak.
May I just interject here, Catherine?
You may.
Because one of the things that I have found over the years is that so often as individuals, we are so anxious to get our own stories out. We want to share our own experiences that we often, you know, we're not focusing on what the person is saying. We're just waiting for that moment when we can jump in and share.
Where we can answer back.
Where we can answer back.
So we're thinking about that rather than
what they're saying, right? So we have to really take a step back, and it does take practice that we take a step back and just listen. Remove our own agenda and just listen.
Absolutely. Ask open-ended questions. Eileen is brilliant at this, and we actually have some examples further down of open-ended questions, like in the consultation.
Which ones are your favorite open-ended questions? Well, there was an open-ended question for you.
Because it requires an answer.
Exactly. What we want to do is kind of remove the yes and no's.
Yeah.
We want to get information, and yes and no's just really don't cut it. So we want to learn how to phrase our language that we're always reaching out and gathering information from our clients. So it's things like, tell me about, how many times a week you wash your hair, or, just start thinking about all the information that you want and how you're going to phrase it into that information seeking language.
And
tell me.
Oh yeah. Tell me.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that when we get to the consultation form, because always paraphrase back, because oftentimes what we think we heard really isn't what we heard.
Yes. And one of the things they say about the world in general is that 90% of our problems are about communication.
Yes.
Because what we say is not necessarily what somebody has heard. And the same thing is true as what somebody is saying is not necessarily what we heard. So the paraphrasing is absolutely crucial. And what that means is what we're going to say is, Catherine, I just want to make sure that I understand your view here. What I'm hearing is that you are looking for a highlight throughout your blonde. Am I getting that correct?
Yes. I want to break up the blonde with different colors in probably maybe a darker and then a brighter. So, just to get more information.
More information. So when you say a darker and a brighter, can you be a bit more specific on the shade of blonde that you're thinking about?
And this is where I love what I call lookbooks.
Yes.
Because to try and understand, because someone can say to you that I do not want any red in my hair. And then you bring them a picture and you say, okay, so go through these and tell me what color it is that you want. And you look and you go, well, that is red.
Yes.
It's a golden red.
Exactly.
Or a lot of people say, I don't want any ash. But what do they pick out? Ash.
Okay, I am a bit picky here because I often feel that bringing out the color chart is a cheater way to do it. I really believe what Catherine is saying. The lookbook is so much more important. Oftentimes, somebody will bring out the color chart and the client points to a color and says, I want that color. And then that's their expectation. Whereas what we want to do is show them the lookbook, because color should really never be one color.
No.
So the lookbook is incredibly important. Take the time to put one together.
Yeah, and our clients don't understand color bases. It's hard for their mind doesn't usually work that way.
No, because they're not stylists. They haven't been trained.
And it's simple.
And they don't understand the chemistry involved
No.
in hair.
It's simple. A lookbook, I get all my young stylists to make their own, because I think that when at some point in the consultation, you can definitely bring that in.
Exactly.
Especially when you're dealing with hair and color. It's for nails, it's great as well. You can show your work and they go, oh, that's exactly what I want.
Exactly.
It's really, I was in getting my nails done the other day, and I heard a conversation at the next station, and they were trying to the client was trying to describe something, and I was thinking, whoa, I'm not sure if she'll get that. But the girl brought out a
wheel, right?
Well, she brought out her phone, which had all of her nail art on it.
Yep.
And the girl said, oh, that's the shape, and that's what I want. So much easier than like trying to guess.
Exactly, because a lot of it is guessing. But if you can do a lookbook and just take the time and do the lookbook, it's important.
It is very important.
Because before beginning, you need to understand exactly what your guests want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I honestly, having had 40 and 50 staff at some points, I have seen the people who get on board with the consultations nail it, and they nail it most of the time. The young ones who are not so great with the consultations, that's where their greatest mistakes come from. But I always say to them, it's never a mistake, it's a learning lesson.
Exactly. In fact, there are no such things as mistake. They're just opportunities.
But the biggest thing is,
forward.
Do not start something until you have a clear understanding of what it is that your client wants. Because if you start before you understand completely, that's where you get into trouble.
And that's where you're going to disappoint your client.
Yeah.
So
I was getting my hair done a couple of weeks ago,
yeah.
And Sophia, who has been on here, does my hair, and it was at a station next to her, and a stylist that we know who's a brilliant stylist, his name is Dwayne, and he was working with the client. And I thought, wow, he was sitting down right beside her. It was obviously a first time visit for this client. He spent a lot of time because he was not quite getting what she wanted, but he sat there for 20 minutes. Until he
completely
was sure.
Exactly.
And then you could see the light go on both of them.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yes, okay, now we can move forward.
Exactly. Again, we just can't reiterate how important this consultation process is. You are making and breaking your whole relationship with your client at this point. It is imperative to understand that a great consultation is the essence of your business. And I know that as a lot of new stylists coming into the business are very afraid of the language. They're very afraid of the consultation. But you know what? Practice makes perfect.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
It does.
Practice on each other.
Yeah. And listen, understand, hear, or listen, hear, understand.
Or hear, understand, listen.
I would be whatever. But it's all about listening, understanding the information that we're getting back from the client. That is what really constitutes a great consultation.
Exactly.
All right, moving right along. So consultation questions, here we go.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions to ask within a consultation. And all of these at some point are going to help you to understand who your client is. Because who they are also helps determine their style, right?
Yep.
So we've come up with a bunch of questions that really need to be on your consultation chart.
And this is in my business in Winnipeg. This is what we have used for many, many, many years.
And it works. It's a proven formula.
Yeah.
First of all, we really want to take a look at their personal style. Are they a classic person? Are they a modern person? Are they trendy or are they natural? very natural, a lot of natural here in Victoria.
Yeah, I was going to say we live out west, and everybody out here is, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but there are a lot of people who it's a much more natural environment than, say, New York.
Exactly.
So it's really important to understand who your client is, and what their personal style is, and their professional style. Do they work in a corporate environment? Is it business casual? Are they creatives? Are they artists? Understanding where they work is also going to help you when it comes to making recommendations.
Exactly. Like, for example, both Catherine and I were really committed to a corporate look. We really believe that, we dress professionally. We look like the professionals that we are.
Yeah.
And that's part of our persona. Yeah. Right? So,
and I always have, ever since I was a young stylist.
Exactly.
When I first started, I believe that we dress for success, and we attract people based on
what we present
outwardly.
So that's always been sort of our mandate too, right?
And it's great if you want to attract a young, trendy, artsy group, then dress the way that they would, because then you make a connection.
Exactly. So there's no real right or wrongs. It's just, how you present it, right? Hair goals. I think this is incredibly important to understand a client's hair goals, because everybody has a different hair goal. You and I, Catherine, I mean, how many looks have we gone through in the last, since we were adults 15 years ago?
Oh, many.
You missed that one, didn't you?
15 years ago. No, I like that. Yeah, you really want to know, like, are you someone that is going to want to change once a year? Do you like to change every season? Is it a major change, or do you just love constant change? Because those are all questions that are great to ask people, because some people, and I, again, tell the story of a client that I had for many years, teacher, lovely woman, very set in her ways, not about change. But every single time Janice walked in the door, I would sit her down and say, is today the day you're ready for a change? And she would say, no, I think just the same. I love what you did last time, blah, 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 blah. And this went on for probably 5 years. I don't know. It was a long time anyway. And one day Janice came in and sat down in my chair, and I said, today, Janice, is this the day that we're going to do a little bit of a change? And she looked at me and she went, I think I might be ready.
And Catherine collapsed in a faint at her feet.
But the thing is, the reason clients often leave us
is because we don't ask.
It's apathy.
Yes.
We are, we get so caught up in, same old, same.
Or how about our other favorite consultation? So what are we going to do today?
That does it.
That's a killer.
Yeah,
that is a consultation killer.
Yeah. And we're not talking about this art of consultation for only new clients.
No. Oh, God. This goes on every single time.
I don't think you need to go through
the whole thing.
The whole thing every single time, but
it changes for the follow-up
I think
questions.
We have to give our regular clients the respect of actually sitting them in our chair, not just taking them back to the sink or taking them into the room and telling them to change.
Taking them for granted.
Yeah, I think we really have to and I use the word respect. We have to respect them, and we have to sit them down and say, how was everything last time?
Did you have any challenges?
Yeah. Do we need to make any changes today?
Are you happy with the cut? Because even though we give the same cut, it doesn't necessarily affect the exact same hair, right? So every single time we get our hair cut, there's a shift. So we always want to make sure that there, that there weren't any struggles or whatever.
I think the thing I hate to hear the most is, oh, do just what you did last time.
Ooh.
It was perfect. And then I go, this is a hard act to follow.
Yes.
Right? Because we're human. We just don't, But
this particular hair may fall in a different place the next time around. So there is no such thing as perfection, right?
And then the big thing, and I mean, this can be the same for skin.
Absolutely.
Skin is exactly the same.
It is.
And
in fact, even more so,
yeah,
more important, because as we age, we show far more reflection of our, of our changing skin in our face, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And commitment. What's your commitment to salon visits? Are you an every 4 to 6 week girl, 6 to 12 weeks, 3 to 6 months, or once a year? Because that is going to determine
the kind of style and color you're going to give your client.
Absolutely.
You're not going to give them a all over color when they're only coming in twice a year.
No.
Because you know what that's going to look like. It's going to look like.
So we have to know that so that we can do our due diligence and really recommend what it is that's going to work for them.
And help them plan their fashion life. Right?
Excuse me, I'm battling a cold.
Can you say Ricola? Here's a very important one, Kat. Time spent styling at home. Like, how much time are they willing to invest in their hair? Less than 15 minutes, 15 to 30, 30 to 45, or more than 45. Because again, this completely determines the kind of style that someone is going to be looking for.
Oh, for sure. There is no point in giving someone an elaborate haircut that is going to require round brushing and 25 minutes of work if they want to roll out of bed and be in the car in 10 minutes. That just isn't going to work. So we have to know what their lifestyle is.
Very important. Versatility. Same every day. Do they want to have something different on the weekend, or do they want to be able to move from their office hours into going out in the evening hours? So are they open to the new trends and change, and are they constantly changing? These are really important things to understand and know.
Yeah, and how do you style your hair? Do you air dry it, blow dry with a paddle brush, or you round brusher? Do you use styling tools, hot tools?
All of these things are incredibly important.
And same thing with skin. What do you do to cleanse?
What's your regime?
What's your regime? What do you do to cleanse your skin? Do you use masks? There's so many
exfoliate.
Yeah, there's so many questions to ask, and this is the place to do it. And this next one is actually 2 questions.
It is.
But
you put them together.
Yeah. So, what do you love about your hair?
Well, Catherine, you know what I love about my hair is that it's on my head.
And you have no idea how lucky you are.
Exactly. It's so true, especially, because, we work a lot with fine and thinning hair clients and
alopecia,
cancer, et cetera, right? So the fact that I do have hair, and actually, I'm really happy with my hair. But tell me, what do you dislike about your hair? What challenges do you find that you have every day with your hair, Catherine?
And I just want to make a point before I answer that question. When you ask your client that question, do not have your hands in their hair.
Oh, exactly.
Stand back and watch, because they will put their hand right to the spot that they hate.
They'll go, well, I have this one piece that just keeps curling up.
Yeah.
And they will show you exactly where they mean, or you might say, I have this cowlick right in the back of my head, like it's incredible, isn't it?
Or my bang.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They will put their hand right to what bugs them. So really just stand back and watch what it is that they do, because that's going to give you all the visual clues that you need.
Yes.
But those are great questions.
Are they ever? So the other one is, what products are you currently using? And it's important to know, because often when people are challenged by their hair, a lot of it sometimes will go back to the products that they're using. They might be using a skinny formula instead of a volumizing formula. They might be using something that's weighing down their hair instead of lifting it up. So, finding out what kind of products they're using is also vitally important.
Yeah. And same thing, I'm going to go on the other side with skin.
Yes, exactly.
What are you currently using? Because if they answer with, well, my skin is very dry, so it's important to know what it is that they're using, and so you can recommend something different for them, because obviously it's not doing the job.
Right, because remember that as stylists, whether we're estheticians or hairstylists or whatever, this is about education. And when we can educate our client and share our expertise and professionalism with them, there's another opportunity to put your a fence around this client and keep them as that loyal fan of yours.
Totally. And the big one.
I love this. What's your beauty budget?
Well, Eileen, you know, I would probably want to get a facial maybe every second month.
Okay, so that you're going to find that the type of regime that we're putting together is going to cost you X amount of dollars every month. Does that fit into your budget, Catherine?
Yeah, well, perhaps I can start with one or two of the products. So what would you recommend that I start with, and then I'll add as I go along?
Exactly. The reason that we want to know somebody's beauty budget, because there's no point if someone says, if they've got a beer budget and they're looking for champagne hair, there's no point. You really need to understand. And I know a lot of people shy away from this question because they're afraid to talk about money with their clients. Mm-hmm. But it is vitally important that we understand how much they're willing to spend on their hair. When someone tells you that, you know, they really are on a beer budget, or they're a student, they've got a student budget or whatever, they're not going to be wanting a haircut or a color that needs the maintenance of a bi-monthly visit.
No.
So you have to start creating a look for them that's going to cover it off. You say, okay, so my understanding is that really you're probably going to spend about $600 throughout the whole year for your beauty budget. Am I correct on that, Catherine?
About that, yeah.
All right, so here's my recommendation, is that we split this into 3 visits, and this is what we're going to do for you.
Yeah, and so the products, you'll take this, this, and this.
And this is...
and we'll add as we go along.
Exactly. You know, honestly, this is going to solidify your professionalism with your client. I truly believe that the beauty budget is a hugely underutilized question in consultation.
Yeah, well, I was doing a consult with a client the other day. Came in looking for a human hair wig. And one of the things I asked her right off the hop was, what is your budget? She said $300.
Well,
and I was able to right there and right then say, well, you know, with that budget, this is what I can do. Human hair is out of the question for us in this center. However,
great word.
However, I do have these options for you. And, you know, she was really grateful that I was honest. And, you know, and on the other hand, I have said to people, what is your budget? And I have looked at them and thought they didn't have much of a budget.
And they surprised you.
And they said, you know, I just say, do you have a budget that I have to keep in mind? Mm-hmm. And they said, nope. It is unlimited.
Exactly.
So
I think one of the most important phrases that we should be using in the service industry is, do you mind if I make a recommendation? And that we are asking really permission to make that recommendation. You know, someone tells you how much money is, well, do you mind if I make a recommendation on a product or a service that I think will satisfy your needs?
Yeah. And I don't know why we're so hesitant to ask that question. I watched Say Yes to the Dress.
Yes.
And that's one of the first things they ask.
What's your budget?
What is your budget?
Yeah.
You know, and we're no different.
Yeah.
Just because we're a service industry.
It's no different. And when you're talking budget, it's not just about today's.
It's long term.
It's long term. Tell me, you know, like, what are you prepared to spend this year on your hair needs, your skin needs, or your nail needs? Mm-hmm. Because that changes everything. You know, should I be getting my nails done every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks? Yeah.
So here it is. Consultation and customized profile form that I have used in my business for many, many, many years. In fact, I think the business name is still on there. And I have to get really close unless you zoom in there, Catherine. But I think if you look at this consultation form, you'll see that all the things that we've just talked about are on this form. Now, it's great to have this form. Mm-hmm. But unless you use it, and unless you use it in a professional manner, it's not going to have the same import. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about how your people use it, because it's key. It is. I think it's very key, because it elevates your level of professionalism right off the hop. If you sit down with your client with a clipboard with this form on it, and as you're going through this, you're taking notes,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden they immediately feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because you're listening.
You're listening to them.
Right?
And so that sets up trust.
It does.
And same thing if it's skin. You can have a customized, and I know everybody does have a customized consultation that they can go through. We just got away from doing it. I'm not saying that with a repeat client, you have to do this all the time, but I think you need to do this at maybe once a year, is just to go over and ask if their styles change. Because I'll tell you, a lot of my clients, you know, I've had clients that have retired and they're, you know, they don't need the same, their needs are different.
Their budget's changed. You know, their color change. Certainly as women get older, the color that we wear against our face completely changes. We can no longer be, you know, a level 1 sometimes, you know, it just doesn't work against our face. So we have to be adept at being able to share that and change that. You know, the follow-up, as Catherine says, is not necessarily as intense as this, but we do need to make sure that we're following up with every
client,
visit.
every time they come in, has to have the respect of being listened to, and given the opportunity to say, yes, I want to do something different. Because if you lose a client, more often than not, it's because, well, a couple of things. If it's a new client, often it's the consultation and you just didn't hear, you either skipped through it or you didn't really understand before you started exactly what they wanted, or you couldn't be honest in managing their expectations,
And
which is a huge thing.
Huge, absolutely huge.
You know, so those are some of the critical elements that we have to do in this whole process of the consultation.
Exactly. Follow up.
And if anybody would like a copy of this little page, we can absolutely send it to them.
You got it. Next. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. This is the finale of the consultation, and we call it the OACT.
It's initially, you know, the OACT is the observation. So you're looking at the client. It's kind of the overall look. You get the you've collected all this information from them, and now you want to put it all together in your package and your recommendation for how you're going to move forward. Yeah, and your analysis, you're looking at the shape of their face, you're looking at their hair texture condition, you're looking at their scalp condition. Growth patterns are
huge.
Because if somebody's got a horrible cowlick in the front, you don't want to cut short bangs.
It depends.
Well, they might look something. Remember that movie, Something About Mary, when the bangs were standing straight up? That's probably what they'd look like. However, that's not. So you must do, you know, you've made your analysis as you're going through this, this consultation, and your conclusion. Then when all of that's done, you can make your recommendations.
Exactly. But it's an educated recommendation. You've spent this time learning about the person, understanding exactly what it is that they've wanted. Now you've looked at all these things, and now you can move forward and say, you know, here's my recommendation and here's how I would like to move forward. And that takes us into the last one, which is
the services to be performed today.
Exactly.
And, you know, if you've managed their expectations, then they will know, like if you, and this is prevalent right now because of the lovely gray color that we see so many young people that, and not just young people, that want, ours is natural, Eileen, we do the other thing.
Oh, Catherine,
but you
this
know,
is so far.
But those young girls that want that gray and they're really dark.
Yes. They want that slate.
We're gonna say we can do this, but it's gonna take us 3 visits.
Yes.
And I heard Sophia talk about that with one of our clients, and she was very upfront in how she said it. She said, "I can get you there, but these are the steps
That
we're
I
going
have
to take in order to do it.
I mean, how many times have we heard the story of the client coming in with a level 1 hair and they want a level 10 and they want it that day? You know, how many hours in the day are
And they want to spend $100.
Oh yes, that one too, right? So, you know, that's the perfect example of handling a client's expectations. You know, to be able to say, okay, this is what I can do, right? And, you know, your clients will totally appreciate it. And seriously, if someone doesn't want it, don't succump. This is not the client for you.
No.
Don't be afraid to say no.
Don't be afraid to say no.
I can't do that.
You can walk away from a client if they will not listen to your recommendations. I think, in all honesty, it is better to do that than do something that you know is going to be a fail, because they won't go out and say they insisted on that. They will go out and say you did that.
Exactly. And who needs that?
We
right?
don't.
Yeah. So finally, the finish. To
Finish.
wrap up that consultation. Last but not least, number 1, reaffirm that your goals were met for the visit. This is incredible. And actually, we're going to get into this more in depth next month when we finish the close and the follow-up. So we're going to go into more in depth on the finish, but we want to give you an overview of what to expect. Here's one of our pictures that we're not fond of.
Yeah. And that's what I would say. That's why I like the lookbook, because I don't like to bring the color chart out to clients.
Kath, here. So anyways, at the end of your service, you want to make sure that you reaffirm that you know, Catherine, here's what we started out to do today. We decided that we were going to go blonde with the undertones of the dark. Have we lived up to your expectations today? Is this how you imagine you would look at the end of this visit?
Yes, I actually am really happy with my look.
Well, that's great. And here's the products I'd like to recommend that you take home with you today to maintain this style and to help you with your creativity throughout your visits before we see you again in another 8 weeks. I'm going to expect you to take home this. Blah, 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 blah.
And there's always 2 responses to that.
This is true.
They will either say, well, Aileen, I've got a sink under my sink is full of products.
I am so surprised.
And you know, I'd like to use some of those products up. So this is how I answer that. Aileen, that is not a problem. Use up some of those products. Just know, if you're not getting the result that you want, it's your product. So come on back in. I will put all of this,
in your file.
I'll put all of this in your file, which Vagaro makes very easy to put all your notes in. And then, you know, we'll set you up with the correct product. Because guaranteed, if they go home and they do not take your recommendation and whatever they're using
doesn't work,
they're not going to say it's a product. They're going to say
it was my stylist.
So what we have done is set up
their expectation.
Yeah. So we've set that up. It's like, oh, yeah, she said I might not be using the right product.
I'm going to go back and get the right one.
Exactly.
Right? And by the way, Catherine, as we agreed on for your beauty budget and for the style that we recommended, I would suggest that we book an appointment for you in the first week of May. Now, is the beginning or the end of the week best for you?
The beginning of the week is always better for me.
And would you say morning or afternoon?
I like afternoon.
Catherine, I do have an opening at either 1 or 3 that afternoon. Which one is going to work best for you?
1, I think.
Perfect. Here we are, May the 1st, 3 o'clock. Oh, 1 o'clock. Sorry. I wasn't listening.
1 o'clock.
But I'm not going to let my client escape without rebooking that next visit, because I have already spent this whole consultation and service program with them, showing them what a professional I am. I'm certainly not going to let them walk out the door without knowing when they're coming back. I'm going to put a fence around this client, and I'm going to get to know them. I'm going to keep them close to my chest. It is the imperative that you rebook. But if you do what we have just taught you to do, it becomes part of the process. It doesn't come across as forced, as fake.
Nope.
It comes across as a professional taking care of their client. And that's who you are. You're the professional.
Taking care of your client.
I told you we get passionate about this.
and then hand out referral cards. You know, it's really simple. All you have to do is say, I really enjoyed my visit with you today. If you're happy with what I have done here, I would love to see some of your friends. I'm sure they're just like you.
Exactly. It's so simple. Kath, I've so enjoyed my visit with you today. If your friends are half as nice as you, I would love to have them as clients. Would you mind passing out a couple of my cards for me?
Absolutely.
You know, it's so simple. It's just so simple.
Just the way it trips off your tongue. And
exactly.
It will be a little awkward at first. But
it becomes natural.
And then you're offering them. You know, we talked about referral programs before. You know, you're offering them for what we do is, you send me somebody, you get $20 for your next service, and they get $20 to come in and see me for the first time. And again, come back and visit with us at the webinar next month, because we're going to be covering more about this, more in depth at the to the finish up for our customer service. So, and finally, use Vagaro to help you, and keep detailed notes on each client. Exactly. You know, our memories are not, I have had a great memory for details all my life.
What's my middle name?
Louise.
She remembered.
I did. So, you know, and oftentimes I would keep a lot of things in my head, but in those days, we wrote everything down. But honestly, it makes it so easy. Just pop in some notes. It's really easy to go there and look at the notes. Susie Q was going on vacation. Yeah. So you know that. This is her preference. She's an Earl Grey tea drinker. All of these things should be in there. What her birthday is. You know, all these what things. She bought. I mean, you can look in product history for what her product purchases are. But if you have recommended something, make sure that you put it down in the notes. Right. Now, if you send a note to support@vagaro.com, they actually have put together a PDF for us on how to truly use your Vagaro notes, etc. To help you with these steps. To help you with it, right? So send them a little note and they're going to send you that PDF, okay? Because it's really, really important to use it. I mean, why not take advantage of this incredibly professional service to help us be the professionals that we want to be? Yeah. Use it. It's there. It's part of your program. And rebooking is made so simple with Vagaro. There's a couple of ways that you can rebook right from the screen. PDF we're going to send you as well. Yeah. And one thing I love about it, your client has the flexibility to change appointments. Exactly. Or to book online. Surprisingly easy. But don't let them just leave and say, "Oh, I'll just book online." No. Oh, we can do that right here, and then you can always go online and make any changes if you need to make changes. Here. And finally, Catherine, our last page is organization will reap huge benefits. Oh, I missed that one. Eileen's jumping ahead. Look, we're only 2 minutes over, Eileen. Okay. Organization will reap huge rewards. Because if you're organized before your client comes in, and after your client leaves, you are setting yourself up for professionalism. You are setting yourself up to be a winner, and you are setting yourself up to keep that client close to you and having a client for life. And that's our goal. Absolutely. So here are the most important emails you can ever have in the whole world is twoblondessales@gmail.com. Note that there's 2 S's there in a row. And support@vagaro.com. If you send twoblondessales@gmail.com a note, Kath will send you the PDF of the consultation form. And if you send a little note to support@vagaro.com, they're going to send you that PDF on how to make use of your notes and appointments. Yes, okay. And it's very detailed. Very detailed. So thank you very much for being with us today. Kath and I are so passionate about this, and so we really appreciate you coming along on this journey with us. And we so look forward to seeing you next month. Enjoy the month to come. And you're going to have Easter before we see you again. Oh, yes, so Easter. Happy Easter to everybody. Happy Easter. Bye, all. Bye now.